Lastly here, Notre Dame is not happy. And Drake, I have so many thoughts. We'll try and keep this under 10 minutes because I have so many thoughts on this one that just range. Listen, I get it from the Notre Dame perspective, and I don't like the ACC, but I get it from the ACC's perspective too. I understand all sides of this, but I think we're just in an impossible situation, and this thing is really firing up here with Notre Dame and the ACC.
See ya. Done. Gone. No more Notre Dame in the ACC. And all it took, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words, those really hurt me. And that's the situation we're in right now with Notre Dame and the ACC. The ACC just got too chatty. They told the College Football Playoff Committee to hold out Notre Dame and put an ACC team in, to put Miami in, and that was irreparable damage done when you ask the athletic director at Notre Dame, who held a press conference, and it's clear that the ACC is just not going to be a long-term thing for Notre Dame. Like, this is that's it. I mean, that's what did it. And so past that, Notre Dame proved itself bad for the sport. You cannot just say, well, you know what? We don't want to even be in a bowl game anymore. We don't want to prove we can beat BYU. We don't care. We're done. We're dodging bowl games altogether. There's some left tackle for Notre Dame who's a senior, who's playing his last game, who's excited about a playoff berth, didn't get it, but I'm sure he'd want 15 weeks of practice. You just forfeited 15 opportunities to get better. And why? To save face? You know what, TJ? It also doesn't make any sense. Here's why I think Notre Dame is bad for the sport. It makes zero sense that after the College Football Playoff Committee snubbed Notre Dame, if that's the word you want to use for it, after they were snubbed, I don't think it is the correct word, the committee said, let's add the Notre Dame rule, a new addendum, that if Notre Dame finishes in the top 12, we'll treat them as a conference champion, and they'll be in that fifth spot of the automatic qualifiers who are conference champions. And you think, well, that doesn't make any sense because they're not in a conference, so they can't win a conference championship. And you say, yeah, but we're still going to add the Notre Dame rule and give them a conference championship trophy, despite them not playing that 13th game when we're moving teams down like BYU for losing, or Virginia for losing, or Ohio State for losing. Notre Dame can sit at home and be a conference champion if they're ranked in the top 12. And I don't know if you've seen their schedule next season, but it's the easiest schedule that any power team will play. It is incredibly soft. And we're just bending over backwards for the brand that is Notre Dame, that doesn't carry near as much weight as it used to. It's not near as big of a brand as it was in the 90s. This is not the Notre Dame of old. This is not the Lou Holtz Notre Dame. It's not. And past all this, it's the cowardice of the university for saying we're not like everyone else. We don't have to play a bowl if we don't want to. We're mighty Notre Dame. We don't have to join a conference if we don't want to. And then the even further cowardice of the playoff committee to say, you know what? They're right. We don't need them to play in a conference championship game. Let's just give it to them. Instead of forcing Notre Dame into a conference, which I do think ultimately Notre Dame will have to join one. They're going to shop these options. Instead of forcing Notre Dame into a conference, the playoff committee said, fine, we'll bend over backward for you. TJ, this entire thing is a crap show that is built to make the Irish happy.
It is very rare that I will come on here and defend the ACC for anything.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even think the ACC did anything wrong here.
I don't either.
I listen, it hurts me to have to defend. And listen, on the Notre Dame missing the bowl game, I don't love what it says. I also don't care enough because bowl games are largely meaningless now. And so if this is your way to protest, then that's fine. I don't really care. I think Notre Dame fans are so hurt right now that they'll just defend anything their school does. I would like to hear from the Notre Dame fans. Like, do you really are you glad your team is skipping the bowl game? Do you wish they just go out and beat the tar out of somebody and kind of prove it? As a Florida State fan, that's what we were told for 2 years. Oh, you should have just gone out and proved it, with 7 injuries and your quarterback out. You should have gone and proved it to that Georgia team, who I still think was the most talented team that season. But so I don't care about the bowl. But Notre Dame being upset with the ACC, which, let's be fair, the ACC marriage is not very good for Notre Dame anyway, because, their schedule sucks because they play a bunch of ACC teams who all suck, right? Miami being a one good one. Everybody else in the ACC is atrocious. And so it's not a good marriage anyway for them. They could do better elsewhere. But if you're the ACC, do you care? I mean, man, Notre Dame's AD going out and saying this is irreparable damage. Miami is an ACC full-fledged member who they own the media rights to. We've talked a lot about media rights over the last couple of years. Are you really surprised that they went to bat for their team that was in their conference that said, yes, we want to be part of you, ACC? Not like we want to be a side piece like Notre Dame is, where they're in baseball and in softball and in basketball and in women's soccer and in lacrosse. And no, like, why are you? I mean, so I don't know why Notre Dame was so upset with that. Like, that just seems like a pretty normal thing. Notre Dame is given special exemptions. They're given special privileges. They're allowed to, in a COVID year, they're allowed to be in the ACC, and then they're not made to do that long term. The ACC saved their butt there, to the chagrin of many ACC fans that thought that the conference should have used that year to force them to join. The ACC didn't. They acquiesced. They did what Notre Dame wanted. And so Notre Dame kind of has a sweetheart deal. But, it's like Cinderella, right? Like, you never expect a stepmother to love you the same way that she loves her own kids. Like, that's just not realistic. And so, again, it's very rare that I would ever defend the ACC. And I'm not saying, oh, go ACC. I mean, listen, I hate the conference and I hate the team they were defending.
Yeah.
But I understand the ACC defending Miami, and I don't understand why Notre Dame would be so upset with that. That's just what you do. Now, the ACC never said that Notre Dame should be left out. And my take is still that Notre Dame should have gotten in over Alabama, because Alabama got in 2023 because of the eye test and because they looked better than Florida State without Florida State's quarterback. And though I don't think that was right still to this day, I understand it. But then you fast forward 2 years and Notre Dame looks like a much better team on the field than Alabama does right now. But we go with Alabama's resume. We put them in. So I get that. But the ACC never said leave Notre Dame out. The ACC just kept saying, hey, they won this head to head. They beat Notre Dame, so you got to put them in. If you're putting Notre Dame in, you got to find a way to get Miami in too. So I don't know. I'm not trying to defend the ACC, not trying to defend Miami. I like Notre Dame and their fans. They've been good to the channel, but it is a marriage that I don't think is really great for either side. And so, yeah, I think Notre Dame needs to get out of it. I think Notre Dame needs to say, yeah, man, we're done with you guys. I think it would be best for both parties involved to go away from each other. And I think Notre Dame can do better. They've already got the scheduling agreement with Clemson, which is going to be much better for them than really any other ACC opponent they could play on a yearly basis. They'll continue to play FSU, I'm pretty sure. And then we'll see what kind of, maybe deal they can make with another conference, whether that's a partial member or a full-time member. Eventually, I think it's trending toward them probably needing to join a conference. My gut would always be the Big Ten on that. But, one way or the other, I think that they need to step up and do something. And again, maybe Brett Yormark can pull a rabbit out of the hat at some point. Just before we go on, make sure that you are on the Sleeper app. Use our code CFA for a 100% match up to $100. Play the more or less game with us on Wednesdays live on the Power 2 at noon. Make some money with us. Check their terms and conditions because terms of use do apply. We appreciate Sleeper for their support.
Let's also remember the intern running the ACC's official Twitter account, probably like 19.
Is not Jim Phillips.
No.
The guy doesn't even have a Twitter account. I know because I've searched for it a million times.
She's like, I don't know, something, Miami's better than Notre Dame, and send tweet. And now the Notre Dame AD read that from the 20-year-old ACC intern is like, scorched earth. I hate you. Like, what?
The other side of this is too, man, it really is the Christmas season because here I am going a step further. I don't want to defend the playoff committee at all, ever. They suck. They're atrocious. This was the worst playoff committee we've ever had.
Specifically bad this year.
Yeah, this was the worst. Everybody likes to whine and moan and complain about the playoff committee. This legitimately was the worst playoff committee we've ever had. Now, ultimately, outside of the Notre Dame Alabama thing, I think they mostly got it right. But still the worst playoff committee we've ever had, ever. Couldn't explain to you one thing. They moved Alabama up over Notre Dame because of their rushing game against Auburn. And then when they had -3 rushing yards against Georgia, they left them exactly where they were.
Yeah.
Worst committee we ever had. All that said, I don't want to defend the committee. I'm about to do it. The College Football Playoff Committee is not making their rankings based on what the ACC intern tweets. They're just not. That's not a real thing. Now, they might be idiots and they might suck, but they're not looking, when they get in that meeting room, they're not looking at, I wonder what the ACC tweeted. You know what, boys?
Yep.
Move Miami ahead. The ACC just tweeted, we forgot about that game, but thank God the ACC just reminded us about that game. You know what? Go ahead and move on. It's so funny to me that they're upset at the ACC campaigning. Everyone campaigns. All these Steve Sarkisian's campaigning. Diego Pavia's campaigning.
Yeah.
The SEC is campaigning. The Big Ten didn't really need a campaign because they had the top two teams. The Big 12 is campaigning for BYU. Sataki's asking to be asked out in the graphic. Everyone is campaigning.
But it's 20-year-old Sarah, the junior at East Carolina.
Yeah, like the committee does not care about your campaigning.
Notre Dame's
not even a yard sign, Drake. Have you ever seen a yard sign during political voting season? Have you ever seen a yard sign?
7 of them.
Yeah. Have you ever seen one and said, boy, I like that yard sign. I'm going to vote for that candidate.
Yeah,
I don't care what they stand for. I don't care who they are. I don't care what party they are.
No.
I like that yard sign. That is the equivalent of the ACC tweeting that Miami should be in the playoff in the committee's eyes.
They were mad at they weren't even mad at the committee. They're like, we respect the committee. We hate the ACC. Like, that did nothing to you. What if they didn't hurt you?
I get it. And hopefully I haven't pissed off the Notre Dame fans too much because I get listen, I think you should have been in. I think you should have been in over Bama. I 100% agree with that. I think you should have been in. It's a travesty that Bama was put in over you. However, I get it, man. I get Notre Dame's emotional. I've raged for 2 years about 2023, and I don't plan on stopping now. So I get it. You're emotional. I've been emotional for 2 years. Continue to rage on. I've got no problem with the Notre Dame fans. They didn't do anything wrong here. They got screwed. They got lied to for 4 weeks by the committee, and the committee should not have ranked. The committee should have never ranked Notre Dame as high as they did. They did, and then they got egg on their face by moving 2 teams around that didn't play each other on conference championship Saturday because neither one of them either could qualify for their conference championship or were in a conference. And that is stupid. I think ultimately Miami should have been ahead of Notre Dame because of the head-to-head. I still think Notre Dame should have been in over Alabama, but it was stupid the way that they moved them the last week with nobody touching the field. However, again, we've talked about the committee is stupid. So I don't know. Notre Dame fans, you can cry on my shoulder because I've been crying for 2 years. Drake, where can people follow you? Where can they find your work?
At Locked On Big 12, wherever you find your podcast, and on YouTube, at Drake C. Toll on Twitter.